Hi BookTube, my name is Juan, I am just one reader, and today I will be answering a very exciting, fun tag, the reread, rewrite, or burn book tag. I wanted to do this video because I saw this made by Joshua J. Clark Kelsall. I think that's how you pronounce the name of his channel. He's a great booktuber, he does a lot of great content, we share a lot of similar taste in books, and he has the most delicious British or English accent, and he's just a great person to watch, and I really enjoy his content. Anyway, this book tag is the reread, rewrite, or burn book tag, and you probably know what it is based on the title of the book tag. I have in this coffee mug or cup, I have a bunch of little papers with some titles. I think I have 15 titles of some of my favorite books, and I will be picking 3 at the same time for each round, and I have to decide which one I will burn and obliterate from existence, which one I want to reread, essentially which one I want to just get back on and really be immersed in that experience again, and the one that I want to rewrite, which I think is very interesting, the one that I think could be modified in some way. So I think this is a very exciting idea. I have chosen 15 of my favorite books, so this is to make things interesting and more challenging, but I have chosen different genres. I have chosen books that I have loved and read at the beginning of my reading life when I was quite young, and some books that I have read this year. So it's quite a big variety of books that I will be choosing from. I have 15 books, so I have enough to do 5 rounds of this. Let's get started. Okay, so round number 1. I'm sort of weirdly anxious. Okay, so I have, first one is A Confederacy of Dunces, The Shadow of the Wind. This is already way too tricky. And 10th of December. Okay, let me go get the books. Okay, so here I have The Shadow of the Wind, which is probably one of my top 3 favorite books ever, and it's one of the most reread books for me. Then I have 10th of December by George Saunders, a short story collection that I'm always saying is one of the best books I've ever read. And A Confederacy of Dunces by John Kennedy Toole, which I mean, this is my favorite book of 2021 so far. I just thought it was brilliant and darkly hilarious. So, okay, right away, the one that I need to save is my favorite, and the one that I have already reread the most, that has to be The Shadow of the Wind. It's a no-brainer. Just because I think this book is perfect, for me at least it is, and it's always felt like one of my favorite people, it's like one of those friends in book form for me, you know what I mean? So this is my reread. Then between these two, it's really hard because, I'm thinking, one part of my brain is thinking which one would benefit from rewriting, but then the one that I don't choose will be burned and obliterated from existence. And I don't want that for any one of these. This is really hard. I'm thinking what could be rewritten about A Confederacy of Dunces, and I can think of something. I think I would probably, if I were rewriting this, I think I would change the final portion of the book, because I think this book could be edited towards the ending. I think it has a little fat towards the ending. I think it's just a little too long, and I think it would be a better book objectively if you cut some of the final scenes before the climax. I think it would be a better book. It would be tighter, a better rounded object of art. And the 10th of December, I cannot even think of what I would change, because I already think this is perfect. So in all honesty, I'm just going to choose burn 10th of December, even though it feels like I cannot believe these words are coming out of my mouth. I mean, how could I say that I want to burn one of my favorite books? But, you know, this is kind of a Sophie's Choice situation, which, you know, I do think that this one could be rewritten and it would be better. And I cannot burn The Shadow of the Wind because it's The Shadow of the Wind. It's like burning water. It's like, it's indestructible to me. So I'm gonna have to burn 10th of December and hate myself for it and feel guilty and feel the shame. I'm gonna rewrite A Confederacy of Dunces and it will be better for it, and I will be forever in love and forever rereading The Shadow of the Wind by Carlos Ruiz Zafón. Okay, I'm ready for the next round. This is gonna hurt. Okay, so the first one is The Little Friend. This is gonna be good. David Copperfield. Well, that's kind of a recent read for me. And Harry freaking Potter. Okay, this is gonna be a good one. Let me go get the books. Okay, so here are the books. Harry Potter. Harry Potter is probably one of my favorite things in life, so I know I cannot burn that one. Then we have The Little Friend by Donna Tartt, which, you know, is a book that I'm always supporting. I think I might be this novel's biggest fan and supporter and champion. I'm always trying to get more people, especially people who have enjoyed The Secret History and The Goldfinch, to read this book, because even though it's very different, it's freaking amazing. And then we have David Copperfield by Charles Dickens, which is the most recent read of this batch, but I really, really loved. I think more than the book, what I loved was Charles Dickens's writing style and atmosphere. Okay, this is tricky because I know that the one that I need to rewrite, and I think everybody agrees with me on this, is Harry Potter. Harry Potter. All I want is a room somewhere far away from the cold night air, with one enormous chair. Oh, wouldn't it be lovely? Harry Potter. I think we need to rewrite the Harry Potter series. I mean, it's my favorite. It probably is my favorite thing ever. And it has defined me as a reader, as an individual. It has given me so much, and I really owe J.K. Rowling for many, many things in my life, still to this day. But there are some definite flaws in the series, especially in the final installments in the series. I think we could really benefit from changing some things. So, yeah, I'm rewriting Harry Potter. I am rereading The Little Friend by Donna Tartt because, you know, she only has 3 novels out, and I have reread both The Secret History and The Goldfinch quite extensively, actually. So I need to reread this at some point, and I just really love her writing style. The lush, kind of beautifully written descriptions and characterization and the gothic atmosphere. And unfortunately, I will have to burn David Copperfield, but I feel like it's the best decision that I can make in this round, because, you know, there are many other works by this fabulous author to look forward to. So even if I burn this from existence, it's not such a huge blasphemy, is it? Okay, moving on to round number 3. Okay, so first we have Blanding's Castle. The Never-Ending Story, my favorite book. And The Picture of Dorian Gray. Oh, look at me. I'm choosing like Victorian fancy literature as well. Let me go get the books. Okay, so here I have Blanding's Castle by P.G. Wodehouse. The Never-Ending Story by Michael Ende, which is my favorite book. And The Picture of Dorian Gray by Oscar Wilde. And, you know, this is a strange round because these books have given me very different things, but they are 3 favorite books of mine, of course. And If I am completely rational and cold-minded and objective, I can tell you that The Picture of Dorian Gray is probably the best written novel, the most beautifully written novel that I've ever read. I've never come across a writing style that creates what this created. It's completely stunning. Oscar Wilde just blew me out of the water with this novel, and it's my favorite classic so far that I've read. However, as readers, we are not always really rational beings. We are rather emotional beings. And as a reader, I read completely for pleasure and for my own enjoyment. And even though I love this, I will have to burn it because The Neverending Story is my favorite book. I've always said that this is my favorite book of all time. It's the book that defines me the most as an individual and as a reader. It defines me. Even as a psychoanalyst, it defines me. So this is like part of my identity. It's like rooted in the roots of my core. That's weird. So yeah, this is a book that I will reread, I think, or rewrite. Okay, so the other one is Blanding's Castle by P.G. Wodehouse. I think I'm gonna reread The Neverending Story. I actually want to reread this book on my channel, sort of as a read-along, maybe, you know, see who else wants to read along with me and host a read-along of The Neverending Story, because I think this book is not talked about enough on our BookTube literary circles. It's the best fantasy book ever, and it's a gem. It's really a treasure. So I will reread that forever. And then I'm thinking of Blanding's Castle. What could I rewrite? And if I'm just gonna go with a very simple answer. It's gonna be quite a cop-out, but I'm going to rewrite it and make it longer, because, you know, Blanding's Castle and the rest of the Blandings stories, in, you know, the stories that take place in the Blandings universe, they are so lovely that you cannot really do anything to them to modify them. So I'm just gonna make more of them. I'm gonna make them longer. I'm gonna introduce more characters and just make them longer. So I'm not gonna really change them. I'm just gonna add more to them. That's such a cop-out answer, but that's what you get. Okay, so now we are on to round number 4. So we have Swamplandia. This is gonna be it's gonna be tough. Then we have Apple of My Eye and Historic Materials. Fuck. Okay, so here are Apple of My Eye by Helene Hanff, Swamplandia by Karen Russell, and Historic Materials by Philip Pullman. If I'm completely honest, I think this has been the hardest round for me, because all of these books represent a very specific reason why they are my favorite books. You know, they are incredibly different from one another, but they are books that I cherish immensely. Right away, I can tell you that the one that I have to burn is probably Swamplandia, because it's the most flawed book in this batch. But at the same time, this one would be perfect for rewriting it. The thing with Swamplandia, it's so imaginative, so strange and bizarre, beautifully written. I mean, no one writes like Karen Russell. She has a very particular writing style. So there are many things going on in this book that are so unique. I do think this is one of the most unique books I've ever read. But the thing with this book is that there is just a little too much towards the ending that I think should be trimmed down and edited and changed, and it would be one of the best books ever. So this would be a perfect option for rewriting. Then Apple of My Eye is just one of those books that I immediately want to reread. Just picking it up and looking, flipping through the pages. I really, really, really want to reread it. I think this has been the most enjoyable and the most emotional reading experience that I've had in many years. It's just such a wonderful book. It's nonfiction. It's about New York. It's so specific. Also, it's so specific and unique in tone. I mean, both of these books, Swamplandia and Apple of My Eye, are incredibly specific. They have a particular tone and atmosphere and a voice. Yeah, I think that's what it is. They have a very particular voice. And then Historic Materials is like perfection. So I really cannot say which one I should burn, which one I should reread, and which one well, no, I do know. I just don't want to admit it, but I do know. This one, Apple of My Eye, is the reread. It just is. You know, I have reread. I think that's what I'm gonna do. I think it's a very bold decision, but I'm a bold person myself. Thank you very much. So that's what I will do. I am rereading Apple of My Eye by Helene Hanff, which is a perfect book. I am burning Historic Materials because I hate myself, and I am going to give Swamplandia the chance to be better, and I will rewrite it, and people will recognize it for the masterpiece that it is. And so finally we come to round number 5, the last round, and we have Neverwhere, Razzle Dazzle, and The Goldfinch. Okay, so Razzle Dazzle, The Battle for Broadway by Michael Riedel, one of my favorite nonfiction books ever. Neverwhere by Neil Gaiman, which is a book that I don't love as much now as an adult, but I did really, really, really love when I was a child. Just very inventive and creative, and I really love the world building. And one of my more recent favorites, The Goldfinch by Donna Tartt, another Donna Tartt novel that I wanted to include here. It's a novel that I've read several times, so this, I think, always has reread potential. And I think if you enjoy Donna Tartt's writing style, if you vibe with her storytelling and her style in general, you will want to reread her books because they feel like an experience. They are atmospheric. The writing has a very particular vibe to it. If you click with it, you will want to reread them. So this might be the one that I reread. But then I'm thinking, which one could I rewrite? Could I really rewrite any of these books? They are pretty great as they are. I think maybe the one that I could rewrite would be this one, just maybe expanding on the material. This book, by the way, Razzle Dazzle, if you don't know, it's a great book. It talks about the history of Broadway and how it came together and how some people came together to reinvigorate the theater district in Manhattan, in New York. And it's a history of the Broadway industry, of these like theater production companies, and it's so interesting and wonderful, and it's really personal. It's a personal click. And Neverwhere, I'm thinking, could I rewrite anything from Neverwhere? I think it's a pretty good version of what it is. I really love how quirky and imaginative it is. I cannot say that I want to reread this now, although I probably could and still would enjoy it, but I did reread this as an adult, and I didn't like it nearly as much as I did when I was a child. So maybe some of that charm is lost. So I think I'm gonna burn Neverwhere as much as it pains me. I'm gonna rewrite Razzle Dazzle, just trying to expand on the material and maybe investigate more and describe more. So just expand to the material overall. And I will keep on rereading Donna Tartt. By the way, I think it really says something about how much I love Donna Tartt that both of her novels that I chose for this book tag, I think The Little Friend was the other one. I also chose to reread that one. So that says a lot. So anyway, I hope this was fun for you. It was certainly a lot of fun for me to do this experiment. So this was the Rewrite, Reread, and Burn book tag. Thanks for watching. I am Just One Reader, and I will see you on the next video.